Hi, guys. Welcome back. Today we're going to visit with Michelle from Unicorn and Centaur. That's the name of her channel, which sounds cool already, I know, but she's going to tell you something that I'd like for you to hear. The name of this video is called Lose Weight with Me. Again, this is Michelle from Unicorn and Centaur. Let's hear what she has to say. You're going to like it.
Hi, I'm Michelle from Unicorn and Centaur, and in this video I will be detailing my personal plan for becoming a lighter, fitter rider so my horses can achieve their best. If you are new to the channel and you are a nerdy, crafty equestrian who loves all things horses and unicorns, then please subscribe to our channel and join our magical herd. I am not a doctor, and if you are interested in changing your body in any kind of dramatic way, then you should probably be consulting with healthcare professionals. Having said that, let me tell you my story. A bunch of my subscribers are people who have known me for a while, so some of y'all already know that a few years ago I lost 72 pounds. I ran a half marathon, I earned a black belt in Taekwondo, and I was riding several horses a day with lots of trot canter work and occasionally popping over some crossbars. I was fit and strong. I achieved all this by simply keeping a food and exercise log, recording the data, and making sure I burned more than I consumed. But, and it's a big but, starting my own business, building Unicorn and Centaur from scratch, took up a lot of my time. Then I injured both of my knees, first one and then the other. And then in October of 2016, my home was destroyed by Hurricane Matthew. We're fine. Everybody was fine. Nobody was injured. Everything turned out great, but it was a difficult time. The stress of all these life changes took a serious toll on my fitness and health. I've gained back almost 40 of the pounds I lost. My strength and endurance have sapped. Some days I'm too tired to ride for very long. I miss cantering being easy. I miss trotting without labored breathing. I miss feeling light and strong in the saddle. It's time to get back on track and refocus. I'm ready. I need to get there again, to be stronger for myself, for my family, for my horses. Before I get into my plan, I just want to say that there is nothing wrong with being overweight. There's nothing wrong with being a plus size rider. There are millions of us. There is nothing wrong with me. And if you're fat like me, there's nothing wrong with you either. You are good where you are and you do not have to change a thing. But if, like me, you are trying to stop a backslide or are feeling like you need to improve your fitness as a rider, then let me show you my secrets. And they won't cost you a thing.
So before we get to a plan, I just want to say that some people have been overweight for quite a while. Some people have lost a lot of weight and slowly started to put it on, like Michelle here. And sometimes we have a situation where, like Michelle, life just kind of hits us in the face. She wasn't expecting that storm and what have you to take out the house. She wasn't expecting to all of a sudden have very little time to necessarily deal with her diet or exercise plan. And before you know it, you can end up losing or gaining back 40 of the, 60, 70, or 80 pounds that you may have lost. So these things happen to people. You're not alone by any means. Let's hear her plan.
First, let's talk diet. It's hard to actually do it, but the math is actually pretty simple. Calories are just energy. If you want to gain weight, you have to consume more fuel than you burn. If you want to lose weight, you have to burn more fuel than you consume. So how do you know if you're doing it right? You have to keep track of the numbers. It is a pain in the butt, but data entry is key. I have a free account on MyFitnessPal, and they have a huge database full of foods. I have the app on my phone. This video is not sponsored, by the way, by MyFitnessPal or by anybody. And it really just takes a minute or two a day to log what I eat. When you set up your account, you enter your physical information, and the app calculates how many calories you should be eating in order to lose 1 to 2 pounds per week. Then you eat food and log it, and exercise and log it. And then you want to keep all the numbers in your target ranges. I mean, you can be vegan, you can be keto, you can be gluten-free, you can have any kind of diet you want. When I was losing weight last time, when I lost like over 70 pounds, I did it eating pizza and ice cream. All I did was make sure that I kept track of the data and that I burned off more than I ate. Now let's talk exercise. This, just like diet, is totally up to you. Let me just tell you, though, that you better pick activities you love or you're not going to do them. Don't buy yourself a gym membership if you hate going to the gym. Don't tell yourself you're going to do it. Find something you actually will do because you love it.
I think that's super duper advice. I see so many people, and I've seen this for decades now, where they'll get a gym membership and they won't just get the starter gym membership, they get the upgraded membership, the one where it actually costs quite a bit of money. And then they'll go 1 or 2 weeks in a row, and then they won't go anymore. And then at the same time, they don't want to cancel their membership because a lot of times these places have membership cancellation fees that just make it where they're unappealing when it comes to canceling. So they end up sticking with these membership plans forever. So if that's you, if you've started more than one gym membership in vain, let us know in the comments.
Ride your horses more. Go walk your dog. Ride your bike. Do some yoga. Go out dancing with your friends. Find activities you love to do and get up and do them. And then log them into your app so you can eat some more. That's pretty much it. It's not sexy and exciting or thrilling. There's not like gadgets or machines that are going to do the work for you. You have to do the work. I know. I don't like it either. So this video is pretty much day one for me. I'm recording my measurements and my weight, taking pictures of me in my riding clothes, and showing video of me riding at this point in time. So this is where I am right now. Next month, we'll take all the measurements again and get more pics and riding videos so I can see how they compare to day one.
Okay, so since all of these videos of hers are pretty quick because this isn't what she normally, talks about on her channel, I'm going to go ahead and stream them together here so we can enjoy all of them right in one shebang. Guys, what's so cool about vintage clips on YouTube, and what I mean by vintage is anything over 2 or 3 years old, right? In this case, I believe her videos here are about 5 years old. What's so cool to me is we can not only see her thoughts before, but we can also see the during, and we might even be able to catch a glimpse of the after. So it's almost like going in a time machine, but actually getting to see the whole story rather than having to wait for months at a time to see it. So without further ado, here's part 2, and this is entitled Working Out. And again, this is Michelle.
And today's video is chapter 2 in my Get Fit to Ride series. What have I been up to in the last month? In last month's video, which I will link up here, I detailed my recent loss of fitness and what I plan to do about it to regain my strength and endurance in the saddle. I look back at last month's video and it's kind of adorable how I thought everything was going to go so smoothly. I was all set to eat right, but that didn't happen. I immediately had problems with food. I'm a boredom snacker. It's like food is an activity that I just reach for when I'm bored, and sometimes I don't think about it when I'm busy and I'm doing.
I hate that I had to stop her, but guys, I feel the same way. I want to know if you feel that way. I think 80% of the time that there's food in my mouth, it's because I'm bored. Even if you don't know you're bored, you might be watching the best game or the best movie of your life. You might be playing Monopoly with the kids or the grandkids. You might be doing some video gaming, and you'll still find your hand reaching for chips, reaching for cookies, reaching for a second meal, right? And it's just amazing. I think that's the real problem. We always hear things about genetics and, your thyroid and your this, that, and the other. Could it just be that mentally we're always wanting to eat, even when we're not hungry?
And stuff, and I'm just like shoving food in my face hole. Breaking that habit has been annoying. At first, I mentally kind of dug in my heels like a child, resisting the changes. I deserve a cookie. I worked so hard. It's just one cupcake. I'm sure I'm under my calorie limit. I probably don't have to log that. It has taken me the entire month to get a hold of my snacking habits and get used to logging my food again. Y'all. The downside of this is that I only lost 2 pounds in the entire month. But wait. Okay, here's what did happen. I rediscovered the joys of working out again. I had been slacking off in my workouts, skipping Taekwondo class, napping instead of running. I mean, you name it, I made the excuse. So while I did have trouble this past month getting a hang on the food part of it, the workout part, I nailed that. Nailed it. Remember in the last video when I said you need to pick workouts that you love? Well, y'all, I took my own advice and it worked. Here's what I've been doing. Riding my horses is hands down my favorite exercise. Honestly, I could ride all day long. It is midsummer here in the South, though, and it has been hot and humid. So I have not done a lot of really hard riding workouts. No cantering, very little trotting, mostly long trail rides, lots of bareback work, things like that. Sometimes we just kind of tool around the paddock together, me and the ponies,
So about 15 or 20 years ago, I probably would have said, that doesn't sound like a workout for you. That sounds like a workout for the poor horse, right? But the reality is, I've had some friends and family that have ridden on a horse. Yours truly, I never have, other than I think when they set me on a pony, back in the 1981 Arizona Fair or something, right? So the reality is, the way you have to hang on with your legs and stuff when you're in the saddle, from what I understand, it can be very, very grueling, and it is quite a workout. If you know anyone that rides, or if you ride yourself and you can kind of attest to this, let us know in the comments.
I'm just kind of taking it easy. I have managed to get in at least 2 miles on horseback every day. Okay, because I have bad knees, I am really, really slow. And I do more walking than running. And I'm not sure even what I do can technically be called running. I don't know. Hey, I'm out there, okay? It counts. It counts. I love running.
She hates running.
I love Taekwondo so much. I have been practicing at Savannah Taekwondo Academy for almost 5 years now, and I love it. It's better than a gym membership. An hour-long workout, 3 nights a week, getting in shape while learning to defend myself in unarmed combat.
I'm such a jerk, but half that class looks overweight, don't they? I think they should give up Taekwondo and take walks, but that's just me. Don't hate me.
And martial arts are an incredible complementary workout to equestrian sports. Taekwondo strengthens the core and uses a lot of hip and leg, just like riding, but uses those muscles in different ways. I would absolutely recommend a martial art. It feels good to get stronger and to be able to do crazy things like smashing a watermelon with my thighs. Link to that video right up here. All right, I only lost 2 pounds, but I'm calling my first month a win.
I really like her cheerfulness. You guys, one of the things that I try doing when we're walking, because sometimes I am legitimately venting because certain things kind of upset me, but I also try to be jolly and happy-go-lucky, because when people have a natural smile in their voice like Michelle here does, it just makes you want to root for them. And if you're there walking with them, running with them, riding equestrian with them, right? It makes you feel like you're right there next with them. So she's got an excellent demeanor, no doubt about it. Let's check out final video in this little series here.
Confession time. Hi, I'm Michelle from Unicorn and Centaur, and today's video is going to be mercifully brief. I am spilling my own tea and outing myself as a failure. This video is the 3rd part in a series. I will link part 1 up here and then part 2 if you need to catch up. I made that first weight loss video back in June when I adorably thought that I was going to lose a bunch of weight and be awesome and inspire people. If you've been following along and watched the second video, you'll know I only lost 2 pounds in that first month. It was not good. I should have made another video in August, but I still had not lost any weight, and so I just kept kind of putting it off. I don't know, so now it's September, and not only have I still not lost any weight, but I've actually gained a couple. Y'all! I'm not blame shifting at all here, okay? I know this is 100% my fault. I just eat too much, and I love it. I'm not blaming anything. I don't have a glandular condition. It's not my thyroid. It's not some kind of disorder I have or an allergy or anything. No, it's just I eat too much food.
So I wanted to share that with you guys to let you guys know that when I look at her, I look at somebody that she's already championed this effort before. She's already come through the other side. She lost so much weight. She ended up gaining a portion of that weight back, right? I don't see her as a failure, especially if she keeps moving forward. If you lose 2 pounds and then a month later you've gained 3, don't quit. You know what I mean? Just don't quit. Let's keep the course. Your health really is something that you have to take care of for the rest of your life. I think where she might have went wrong is when you're running and you're 70 pounds lower than you were, you're running as a small person all of a sudden. When you regain 40 and you start running and it kind of looked like she was uncomfortable at running, I think it would have been better if she just started off by walking, you know? But I don't necessarily think that was the make it or break it. I think it just takes longer than 1 or 2 months to lose weight. With that being said, no more excuses. Go get your shoes. Let's go for a walk. Yay! Walk. Yesterday I was able to hit the gym. I went to Planet Fitness, did a little bit of weight training, did a little bit of, they have like these balls these weighted balls that you can move back and forth, and I kind of get some exercise in on my trunk or torso area and my abs, because ever since I had my surgery on my tailbone, I don't really like the idea of doing sit-ups. So what I'll do is kind of bring my knees up. I'm just trying to do anything I can to isolate these muscles in the gut area. One thing I've been doing is I've been trying to flex my muscles and flex the muscles in the stomach area. My thinking is maybe when I was younger, I would flex those muscles more often, and it created like more of a streamlined stomach area, where now it just kind of hangs out and over. So in case you guys are wondering, even though I'm 60 some odd days into this, my gut is still not anywhere near where I'd like it to be. But at the same time, when you have 3.5, 4 more weeks left, that is the perfect time to try to do something about whatever's not quite there and trying to get things where you need them to be. Okay? So again, if you're walking every day and you have a 90-day goal like me, and you know that you still need a good 15, 20 pounds or whatever to lose, you have to make some adjustments. But here's one of the things I would urge you to remember. At the very beginning of my walking with you, I told you that one of my best times to lose weight is right between day 90 and day 100. So even if day 90 hits and you're a little bit under your goal, don't worry. I have a feeling you're going to love what happens between day 90 and day 100. And again, remember, everybody's body's a little different. Some of your victories might not show up on the scale. They might be better represented by how loosely your clothes feel, or how, less flabby your arms and body areas feel. If everywhere that you had flab, you still have those flabby areas, and no matter what you do, you haven't lost a single pound, and you're not cheating, you're drinking water, you're avoiding sugar, and you're walking, then again, let's just try to be patient and give it a little bit more time. Because even then, sometimes your outward signs might not show. But if you're avoiding sugar, walking a lot more, and staying away from, soda pop and stuff, drinking a lot of water, you're probably going to start to have better teeth and mouth health, which is huge. And you're probably healthier on the inside. And the only way you could really check those things is to have your doctor, set you up for some lab work. Usually with the lab work, there's a building that you can go to. You leave them a little bit of blood or a little bit of urine if you're taking a drug test, right? But I don't think they need your urine in this case, probably just your blood work, right? And they can kind of tell you where your cholesterol is, where your A1C levels are, how you're dealing with regards to your blood pressure, the whole 9 yards. And again, remember, if you're the exact same weight that you were and you're doing everything that we're talking about, including the push-ups and sit-ups, there's probably a good chance that you've developed some muscle and have actually lost a little weight in fat. But again, if you're also replacing that fat with more muscle, it might not show in the overall numbers, Another thing I wanted to talk to you guys about was our 730 Club. We've got a good 8, 9, or 10 of us that are in the 730 Club. Again, I assume half of you have already found yourself snacking after 7:30 and probably caught yourself, right? Don't feel guilty if that happens. Even if you're cheating more than once in the last 4 or 5 days, don't stress about it, because here's the way I look at it. If you're not eating after 7:30 half the time, that's a major victory for us, okay? And notice I didn't say for you or for me, but it's for us, okay? We're a team on this last month, and even if you eat most of the time after 7:30, as long as you're getting in 1/3 of the time not eating, again, that's a victory in my eyes, okay? And we can always build on that. So over the last 5 or 6 days, I've been able to stop eating around 6 or 6:30. And guys, I want a snack from 6:30 to midnight because I'm up, right? But at the same time, it's not a hardcore like grumbling. It's more mental, like, oh God, I wish I could snack on something while I'm watching this program, right? And I bet there are snacks that are perfectly okay. For example, I don't know, but my heart and gut tells me that if you were to eat some maybe unflavored popcorn with just maybe a tiny drizzle of salt, I have a feeling that that's probably not that bad for you, right? If any of you guys are popcorn eaters out there, we all know that things like kettle corn and Cracker Jacks and Fiddle Faddle, you know, there's unhealthy ways of eating popcorn. But again, if you're just dying to snack on something and you have a rice cake or some maybe unflavored popcorn with a tiny bit of salt on it, and I know you're thinking, but Jetchy, salt is something that we use for flavoring. Yes, again, I'm talking just a tiny bit of salt, you know, just to give your tongue that little flavor burst it wants. That's probably not too bad. So even if we could take our after 7 snack, and maybe you're having troubles with this, instead of being defeated, the next time you go into the grocery store, walk down the popcorn and chip aisle, because I noticed they have bags of popcorn right there on the potato chip aisle, and flip the back around. I know I'm not a big fan of this, but you can do it just once to find out, and see if it's not too high in calories, right? And make sure it doesn't have any weird hidden sugars in there, I suppose. But even if popcorn does have some hidden sugars in there, it should be very, very negligible. But between rice cakes and popcorn, there might be a perfect substitute, right? The main thing is we want to get you away from whatever you're normally snacking at night. For me, on the other hand, for some reason, other than the mental want to chew on something and to taste something maybe while I'm watching a movie or watching TV, the main thing I've noticed is that I'm still able to wake up in the morning. I feel super energized. I don't know about you guys, but I feel so much energy over the last month and a half or so. And I'm not craving any food in the morning. And I'm being honest about that. So I wake up normally at maybe 5:45, 6:30-ish, you know, in that zone. But I don't usually have my first meal till about 10:30. And because I don't have an exorbitant amount of snack food, and there's a ton of snack food in my house, and it's not good snack food, it's junk food, right? But because I don't have too many snacks that are healthy, good snacks currently, I'm waking up in the morning, and usually when I delay my breakfast at 10:30, I'm not going for a snack before lunch. I'll usually just end up having that bowl of oatmeal. But again, I get the pre-measured packets, and that's strategic, right? Because we could all buy the Quaker Oats and we can all cook it. It's no big deal to cook something for 20 minutes before you eat it. With the microwave packets, it's a perfect size portion. I'm able to put it in the microwave for 45 seconds to a minute, and voila! I'm ready to eat, right? So the one thing I'm noticing is, as I get smaller, I'm not craving food as much. So it's not me abstaining from food, it's not me punishing myself. I'm just not as hungry. And so my question to the people on the 7:30 Club is, hey, we've all been doing it from anywhere from 3 to 6 days, right? Have you been able to stay 100% on it? If you are accidentally finding yourself cheating, ask yourself this. Was it a situation where you felt hunger pain and you had to eat something? Or was it a situation where you simply forgot and started nibbling on something? Or maybe you didn't forget, you just figured, hey, no one's watching me. I'm gonna nibble on something, right?
none of the answers there are really horrible or great or good answers, right? The main thing is I was just wondering where you guys are at with it, because one of the things that I don't like doing, and a lot of the people that we listen to on the show suggest against, is these strict restrictions when it comes to your diet. Because one of the things that we as humans do is we rebel. When someone tells us that we absolutely can't have the candy bar that's up in our cupboard, it makes us mentally want that candy bar. So again, if you're feeling like you're punishing yourself, just have your late night snack. But there is still a way you could baby step that by trying to get something that's maybe less caloric, or less of something that you enjoy and more of something that just, takes care of that urge to snack. And again, the unflavored popcorn might be the perfect way to go, or one of those yummy rice cakes. Oh my God, I've had so many girls through my life have rice cakes in the house, and those things are just not the best. They taste like you're eating a little piece of styrofoam, right? So I wanted to talk with you guys about the Diddy abuse thing. I don't know if you guys have seen, but in 2016, they dropped a video recently that is from 2016, and it shows Diddy, I guess, beating the crap out of his girlfriend. And I gotta be honest with you, whenever videos tell me right up front what you're about to see might be disturbing, make sure you don't have children looking at it. If I know what it is and you verbally tell me, I don't really need to see it. And because I had a situation when I was 5 where my mother's boyfriend beat her up, and I had to run to the neighbors to quote unquote, save her, not knowing if this guy that was beating her up was right behind me ready to kill me. Very traumatic. So whenever I hear stories of men beating up on women, I don't like to see it. So where you guys might have seen the video, and even if it's kind of set up in a way where you don't see it all, kind of half censored, I don't like to look at videos like that. There was a couple videos a couple months back where they were showing 2 girls get in a fight, and I guess one of them busted their head on the ground. I don't want to see that, When you start hurting people and giving them brain damage or permanent injury, yeah, that's not good for the soul and not good for the heart to see. So in case you're wondering, your boy is one of those people that I don't need to see it, And I recommend you do the same thing, because I'll tell you what, sometimes you'll see something and it just really makes you feel all sad, and it can really ruin your day. We all know that bad things happen in the world. We don't all have to be witness to it. That's why I feel like when there's fights happening and there's people that pull out their phone because they want to go viral on TikTok or YouTube, that's what really gets me upset about it, because you might be taking the final pictures of somebody having a normal life and then somebody having a dysfunctional life for the rest of their days because nobody stepped in to save them or to help them. And I don't know about you, but we are all capable of being the victim. I don't care how tough and bad you are of a person. We are all capable of somebody hitting us on the head with a rock, somebody shooting us in the back when we're not looking. All those bad things, when you watch stuff like that and enjoy watching stuff like that, I think not only is it bad for the soul, but it really throws out horrible vibes. And a lot of times you wonder, do people have it coming? Man, if you're gonna disable somebody for the rest of their life or kill them, I don't think anybody has that coming, Now, don't get me wrong, if, you're a child molester, or, maybe you killed somebody's family member and they get revenge on you, that's a little different, right? But even then, I don't think we want to live in a world with vigilante justice, right? We want to make sure that we live in a world where judges do the right thing and punish the criminals. And that's what makes it so crappy when a judge that is probably living a good life decides to give too many criminals too many second and third chances, knowing that the recidivism rate with criminals is so high. To me, that act alone is criminal. So again, I wish there was something we could do to kind of Monday morning quarterback some of these judges that allow these atrocities to happen, and then take these criminals and throw them back out into society where the rest of us law-abiding citizens have to deal with them. Because I don't know about you, but when you're able to do that to a community and let bad guys out, I think that makes you a bad guy, you know? And don't get me wrong, I'm sure some of us have family members that have went to jail and did their time and got out, but guys, I still think there are some people that don't deserve a second chance. That's why you heard that saying, throw them under the jail and throw away the key, right? Lock them up and don't let them see the light of day again. It's because they've done something heinous that has made their victims where they can't see the light of day again. And I think those type of people need to be out of society so we can have a wonderful country. Is it a wonderful country if bad people always get second chances and victims always get kind of shafted? I don't think so. And that's something we can change culturally. We can start telling people, no, those judges are bad. Have you ever noticed nobody ever talks about bad judges? I mean, never. Sometimes you might say, oh my God, I can't believe a judge let this guy out. But we never take a look at that judge and examine them, you know? We examine quarterbacks for our favorite football team more than we do judges that are letting people out on the street that commit more crime. And again, I think at one point or another, that in and of itself becomes criminal. Hey, check this out. So again, on the Diddy abuse thing, I think it's horrible, but I choose as a person not to poison myself with all those stories because, oh my God, those things are just horrible to watch. Could you imagine if that girl that he abused was your daughter or your sister or your mom? Unacceptable. Unacceptable. And I don't care how good a person's music is or how many stars that he's representing and, you know, with his companies and stuff. Throw him in jail, throw away the key, don't ever let him out of jail again. Apparently, whatever he's done it, you know? Can you get to a point where everybody's against you because they want your money? Sure, but I don't think this is a money grab. I think this is legitimately a situation where Diddy is just a bad person. If he is a bad person, get him out of our sights, let him go in jail. If he's able to survive in jail, great. If he's not, you know, he made his bed. It's time for him to lie in it. Hey, the other day I was at the corner down the street in my car making a left turn at 51st and Thunderbird, so just a mile or two down the road. And I saw this guy that I thought was asleep, but he was standing over and bent over, like literally just bent over. And where I'm bent over, like in a 90-degree angle, he was bent over like all the way sandwiched down where his head are down by his feet. And it was right at the corner where he would have, if he would have fallen, he would have literally fallen onto the street where a car could have run over him. He was literally at the corner of the sidewalk and the street, right? The edge. Come to find out, just today, that's a side effect of fentanyl. So if you ever see somebody and it looks like they're literally asleep, standing up, and they're bent all the way over, now don't get me wrong, I've seen people do that with heroin too, but you got to remember with fentanyl, it's kind of going to give you the same effect, I believe, that heroin does, but it's just 10, 15 times stronger, right? So anyway, I see this guy and he's bent over, and I was watching him because I was getting ready to giggle because I just knew he was going to fall over into the road. But about a minute later, the light turns green and my arrow hits, so I'm ready to turn. The guy never fell. Now, I suppose he could have fallen after I left, right? But I don't think he did. I think he was just on fentanyl. And according to this little video that I watched, apparently this scenario where people are literally asleep on their feet, a lot of people have been wondering, like, what the heck is that? So in the news little blurb that I watched on YouTube, it was describing that with fentanyl, not only do you lose your consciousness, which is why you're asleep, right, or look half asleep, but you also lose your muscle control. And apparently they were talking to some people that were coming out of their fentanyl high, and they were asking them candid questions about, you know, how their spine feels, And apparently the guy that was coming down off the drug was kind enough to speak with the reporter, and he gave her some really interesting insights. He said, no, I can stand up, but it hurts incredibly. So he was actually stating that it's a comfort thing to be able to bend over, so to speak, and just kind of relax. And my God, any type of, I want to say medicine, because I guess it is a medicine if you're going in for a surgery, but any type of drug that you're taking that starts giving you an arthritic back like that, make you hunched over like Quasimodo, oh my God, that is just scary. And then what he said, which added to the story, he lifted up his pant leg, and from his knee down, the lower part of his leg kind of looked like an elephant's leg, you know, just like there was no ankle. It just kind of went heavy and fat all the way down. Have you ever seen people like that? Where they, you know, they're usually overweight, and for some reason they've kind of lost the different definition of the lower leg. It just looks like a giant tree trunk, right? And many times it's off-colored, very purple and very swollen looking, inflamed. And he was saying that this is the problem he gets from fentanyl. It really makes his legs very uncomfortable. Because one of the things that I do whenever I see that is I always say, oh Lord, give them the strength to get them off of that stuff. But in my head, I always think, God, I wonder if I'm going to ever see that person again, because obviously they're kind of in a homeless state. They should be here all the time, but as you may or may not know, homeless people drop like flies all the time. Now, your favorite homeless person, you might find he or she never dies, right? And I think that's because I think their immune system is amazingly strong. Have you ever noticed if you wash your hands regularly, you'll still occasionally get the sniffles and still get sick? But your friends or your buddies or your people that you see in the world that don't wash their hands after they go to the bathroom and stuff, they never get sick. And after they take a giant crap, they've got their finger picking their nose and all this gross stuff. They never get sick. But you get the sniffles all the time, and you wash your hands like a clean person, you know? That seems hardly fair at all, does it? I'll tell you what, I'll give you permission. Go the next month without washing your hands, no big deal. And every time you touch something gross, go ahead and pick your nose or lick your fingers, you know, whatever you gotta do. I see people, they'll go into a public bathroom, like at a park, and they're literally standing in a puddle of piss while they go to the bathroom. These are men, right? And then they'll go out and play basketball, and they'll touch the bottom of their shoes and lick their hands, and it's like, do you realize you are literally licking strange people's piss off of your fingers? Like, what are you doing? It is so gross. I think what ruined me on germs was in 5th grade. We watched this film in science class, and it was discussing the little microbes and little tiny particles and live little animals and stuff that are in our drinking water. And it just kind of ruined me, because before that, I never really stressed out about washing my hands or nothing. But ever since 5th and 6th grade, seeing all, learning about germs and stuff, it's like, oh my God, I've been washing my hands ever since. And that's just a clean thing, right? I don't necessarily fear like getting a germ or anything. Just the whole idea of somebody's fecal matter or somebody's, urine or bodily fluids somehow finding their way up to my body and face and nostril area. Very, very gross, very unacceptable. You know what is acceptable? It's your weekend, and there's no reason why you can't take a little bit of a further walk. Let's take a quick little extra 5 to 10 minute walk, just to show you that extra credit is just that easy. So I don't know if it was yesterday morning or the day before, because all the days kind of blend in together for me after a while. But if you remember, it was kind of raining a little bit. And when I say a little bit, it was literally just a little sprinkles and stuff. But what it has created is a situation where today, right now, it's already like 82, 83 degrees, but there's humidity in the air. And one time when I went to Illinois with my family back in the early 2000s to visit my in-laws from my wife's side of the family, It was 70, I think 78 degrees or 74 degrees, but the humidity was up. And keep in mind, I'm an Arizona guy, so I'm not, even our worst humidity is nothing like the humidity people in Illinois or Florida and different states around the country, experience. And I remember people were like, oh, it's a beautiful day. And I'm like, God, it feels like 100 degrees out here. What are you talking about? And they're like, oh, you're just not used to the humidity. And here's the difference between me and other people. If I had an in-law come in town and they were sweating bullets, because I was sweating bullets, I would turn on the air conditioning. They didn't think to turn on the air conditioning. So here's my thought for you to consider. You're somebody's in-laws. If you live in a state that has a lot of humidity, and all of a sudden somebody is in your house and they're from a state that doesn't, and they're sweating, turn on the air conditioning for them. Oh my God, I remember not only was I sweating, but my son, who at the time was like 6 or 7 or 8 months old, maybe he was a year, I forget, but he was very, very young. He was sweating too, and it's like, golly, you got this little tiny baby toddler boy that's sweating bullets, and then his dad, your in-law member, is sweating too. You can't turn the air conditioning on? It always amazes me, some of my friends, family, and acquaintances that are very wealthy, they have really big houses. It's really weird, almost none of them run their air conditioning. So I've had a lot of weird experiences where I go into these luxurious houses and people are living like they're in third world poverty. It's like, turn the air conditioning on. If I was a multimillionaire, I would have the air conditioning on, God, probably every day of the year, including the winter. Holy moly. I think some people are kind of fake rich. If you live a certain lifestyle, but you've got $20,000 to $30,000 in credit card debts, you're kind of fake rich, If you're living on money from the last 2 or 3 homes you sold, you're kind of fake rich. You ought to just get a small house where you can turn your air conditioning on. Golly, I'll tell you what, if people have houses where they don't turn on the AC and they ask me to come over, to, hey, enjoy the football game and stuff, I'll literally make excuses why I can't go, I would rather go to a poor friend that has a little unit on their wall that can throw some cold air at me. I'd rather go hang out at their house than a well-to-do friend that just lets you suffer. I also hate when you go to people's houses and they don't offer you something to drink. It's like, my God, do I have to ask you for something to drink? Don't you know what hospitality is? Why are we the way we are? I remember when I was young, I would have friends spend the night. And my mom, I was always embarrassed because my grandma at the time would always be like, yeah, have them come over. Let's go get Kentucky Fried Chicken or something. And my mom was the exact opposite. She would say, have your friends come over, have them bring their own sleeping bag, tell them to eat before they come over. If you're that type of parent, just know your kids roll their eyes when they think about that, I remember my mom would be like, don't go in the cupboards eating our food. And it just reminds me of one of these guys in prison that's surrounding their food like this, like they're ready to fight for their food, And I would tell my mom, I even told my mom back then, when people come over, when I go spend the night at a buddy's house, their family's like, let's get a pizza, hey, would you like me to make spaghetti or would you like me to make tacos? And I'd be like, Mom, when people come here, you're like, bring your sleeping bag. If anybody asks you to spend the night and you have to bring your sleeping bag and it's not a slumber party, something's wrong with that picture. I think that's one of the places where my mom struggled as a young adult. I don't think she ever really knew about things like manners and etiquette and hospitality. But I'll tell you what, when people don't show her manners, people don't have etiquette around her, when people don't show her hospitality, she's the first one to raise a stink about it. It's funny how hypocritical people are like that. And you might think, oh, Jesse doesn't like his mom. I love my mom. I just realized she has shortcomings. And whenever you try to go up to a person with shortcomings and talk about it, you know, like, hey, do you think we could do this differently in the future? Oh my God, they never change. They never change. So if you have somebody with shortcomings and you dive into your think tank and you come up with this master plan to have this nice talk with them, just know it's a great plan, but they're not going to change. People like that just never do. Just like people that throw yard sales and sell their clothes. Who the hell wants to sit outside in the 100-degree heat for 4 hours babysitting their clothes? Doesn't make any sense. But yet, it happens all the time. If you're gonna sell anything on a yard sale and you want it to be successful, you gotta bust out watches, you've gotta bust out power tools, you've gotta bust out exercise equipment. If your game plan is, let's get rid of my closet of clothes, don't even have a yard sale, just put them in a box and take them to Goodwill. You are better off enjoying your day than sitting outside at a yard sale. With that being said, I love yard sales. It's always fun when you can go get a diamond in the rough. But I don't think any of us ever went to a yard sale and picked up a t-shirt and thought, wow, what a great yard sale, you know? And if you do go pick up a t-shirt, knowing that it's used, knowing that it's been, you know, on this person's body, right? And they might have armpit sweat. You ever seen people where on a white shirt, their armpits turn yellow? Would you want to buy that shirt? You would have to pay me to wear somebody's yellow stained shirt. And why is our sweat yellow on the armpits? Not mine, I barely sweat there. But why do people get yellow pit stains? Does that mean that we're almost urinating out of our skin? And if you are that type of person, you know, you can fool people by selling them a dark t-shirt. But knowing that you are excreting yellow ooze out of your armpits, why would you want to sell anybody that shirt? Just disgusting, you know? There's a lot of things that people buy. I would never buy used shoes. Oh my God. Now, with that being said, if you have a good pair of used shoes, because there's people out there that will buy them, drop them off at Goodwill. Get used to cycling through your stuff. You know, if you buy a new shirt or a new pair of clothing or new shoes and you get rid of an old pair, right? That is a great way to constantly cycle through your wardrobe so you always have stuff that looks nice. But it's also a great way where you can have somebody take advantage of the clothes that you're not wearing. So I'm just a huge proponent of taking stuff down to Goodwill and helping others, you know? One of the things that people that go to Goodwill can do, and this is true with my Goodwill, it might not be true with yours, but if a homeless person comes in and they take a shirt, they can go to the bathroom, put that shirt on, walk right out. Everyone in the office knows they stole it, but nobody does anything about it. So I saw a video the other day where this guy was really upset because he walked into a Goodwill with his camera, right? Everybody wants to go viral. And he asked the Goodwill, he goes, hey, there's a homeless person down the street. Can I please take a pair of shoes for them? They're legit homeless and they legit need them. Now keep in mind, Goodwill is a business. And this business helps people in the community with their job centers, you know, so that they can do a resume and get a job. If you're unemployed, they're almost always hiring and they will give you a job. And if you're homeless and steal a piece of clothing, they won't stop you, okay? So this guy goes in there thinking, oh, I'm making this great video showing what jerks Goodwill are. But if you shop at Goodwill, you know it's bullshit, you know? And that's what I can't stand about the world we live in. People are always trying to catch people do wrong. You know what I was thinking the whole time I'm watching that video? Because it's a guy that obviously had a job. Do you know what the price of shoes are at Goodwill? $4, sometimes less. That guy could have shut his mouth, opened his wallet, closed his video camera, purchased a pair of shoes for the homeless person, and oh, by the way, if you hand them 10 or 15 or 20 bucks, sir, they could have went and bought whatever pairs of shoes they wanted, okay, and still had money for lunch. So anyway, maybe I'll share that video. But it's one of these videos where even in the comments, everyone's like, oh my God, I'm never gonna shop at Goodwill again. Goodwill is a business. Could you imagine if you're in line ready to buy your products and all of a sudden some guy just gets permission to take products for free out the store? You know what that's going to do, sir? It's going to make it where every single person that was willing to spend their hard-earned money for a good company like Goodwill now isn't. If you guys have seen that video, it's a guy in his car and he's showing the video of a guy in a Goodwill, you know, trying to make this moral stand. And it's like, dude, you're arguing with Goodwill over a $3 pair of shoes that, once again, if a homeless guy went in there and put them on his feet and walked out, they have a store policy not to stop him. So again, when you guys hear these stories, do a little homework on them. The only reason I knew about that is because there was a time where I would buy vintage shirts from Goodwill. It's a great way to save money and get some really cool shirts. But one thing you should never do is knock a good company. If you want to knock Amazon, right, and their monopoly or whatever, go for it. I don't even know if it's a monopoly. I like Amazon, right? But if you want to knock them, I can understand that. If you want to knock Walmart, because before Amazon was Amazon, Walmart was the same way, right? Where they would have certain rules to sell products in their store. But don't knock Goodwill. They do more good stuff over the course of a week than most of these companies do over the course of a lifetime. With that being said, do good. I'll see you later.